Hello and welcome to the Microsoft Office 365 for Teachers Capstone presentation from Kennesaw State University. My name is Dan Davis. I'm a 7th grade teacher at Columbia Middle School in Grovetown, Georgia. I'm currently pursuing my Instructional Technology Specialist degree from Kennesaw State University, and I expect to graduate in May 2017. Hello, this is Dan Davis. My wife and 4 boys also work and attend school in Columbia County. I received my bachelor's degree in middle grades education from Augusta State University in 2006. I received my master's degree in curriculum instruction from Capella University in 2009, and now I expect to receive my specialist degree in instructional technology from Kennesaw State. I've been a teacher for 10 years, previously at Freedom Park School, and now at Columbia Middle School. Columbia Middle School has a brand new building, built in 2013, and has a growing population of over 1,000 students. We have a large amount of technology and a new focus on bring your own device instead of the planned one-to-one implementation. The faculty and staff encourages a free flow of ideas and tries new strategies willingly. In my own classroom, I enjoy facilitating learning with engaging activities that integrate technology and promote student-centered learning. I also encourage sharing and collaboration between teachers and students. I integrate technology in research, and I incorporate a variety of assessments for my students. In the future, after graduating from Kennesaw State University and completing my gifted endorsement, I plan to move from the classroom to an instructional technology specialist role so I can have more time to help teachers integrate technology in their own classrooms. And here's a little bit about the problem and need. The identified problem and need that this capstone meets was that CMS was facing the oncoming one-to-one implementation from the county, but many teachers did not have a working knowledge of how to properly use the devices. Based on research for my capstone project, I knew that successful one-to-one plans used an online cloud computing suite or learning management system to effectively bring technology use to every student. Columbia Middle School faculty and students already had access to the Microsoft Office 365 Cloud Computing Suite, but did not know how to use all the features. Many teachers at CMS also had a negative perspective as to how cloud computing can increase student achievement and collaboration. Fortunately, though, the school already has several early adopters who could drive the changes to cloud computing, collaboration, and feedback using online tools in the school's devices. These teachers will help support the needs of CMS with the Capstone project training. This begins the project plan section of my Microsoft Office 365 Capstone project video. Pre-planning for my capstone project began in October of 2015 and continued through May of 2016 as I conducted surveys to find out the needs and the training that the faculty would need in order to use cloud computing suites like Microsoft Office 365 while the implementation of the one-to-one program rolled out from the county. I scheduled most of my training sessions for pre-planning in August through September of the 2016-2017 school year. I did this in conjunction with our new instructional specialist, Ms. Valerie Reed, Dr. Dunham from the media specialist position, and through administration as far as scheduling with the school calendar. I just sat down with Nick Carroll, the county director of technology for Columbia County, and he told me that
One, not only were we not going to be planning on doing one-to-one anymore in the county, but two, we were going to drop the Microsoft Office contract and start using Google Classroom. So not only will be eliminating Office 365 as our cloud computing tool, but we're going to roll in a brand new thing, Google Apps for Education. So this is pretty major, pretty drastic, and I'm kind of nervous and excited about what the future is going to hold here. So.
After I learned of the unexpected transition to Google Classroom and Google Apps for Education, I saw that moving from Microsoft Office 365 to Google Apps was going to be better for our overall school success. Microsoft Office, while familiar in terms of Microsoft Word and PowerPoint, was cumbersome and difficult to use when sharing and collaborating using the online tools found in Microsoft Office 365. On the other hand, Google Apps for Education, and specifically Google Classroom, was very intuitive. You were able to share, post, and collaborate all within the Google Classroom news stream, which is very similar to how many social media outlets work. This made it much easier for students and teachers to grasp the ways that they could use Google Classroom as a cloud computing suite to increase collaboration, assessment, and feedback with their students. I used several surveys and peer feedback to evaluate the effectiveness of my Capstone project. As I collected survey data, I noticed that more and more teachers were using Microsoft Office and Google Classroom online cloud computing suites to engage students in word processing, presentations, and collaboration using online document editing tools. You can see here how after the Capstone project, the majority of faculty at the school were using it to not only share assignments, but to allow their students to write papers, make PowerPoints, and graphs online using Microsoft Office. Also, one teacher used Microsoft Sway and Microsoft Delve as a way to engage students in higher order skills. Here's a sample of Capstone project artifacts, including the Microsoft Office 365 dashboard, the Google Classroom and Google Apps for Education dashboard, and a selection of training sessions from Microsoft Office 365. On the following two slides, you'll see real-life feedback from two teachers who have transitioned from Microsoft Office to Google Classroom.
The results of my Capstone project were very promising for the future of CMS, its technology integration, and the use of cloud computing as a resource to help the BYOD and one-to-one implementation in the future. Not only was I able to plan collaboratively with colleagues and administration to meet the needs of CMS as we transition to a one-to-one, or now 1-to-3 and 1-to-4 device per student group implementation, I was also able to train the faculty in ways to use those devices using cloud computing to meet the needs of student technology standards. I was able to coordinate and deliver training both individually and with my instructional specialists. I was able to move faculty from a more defensive posture and eventually move them into an adopter of these cloud computing techniques either from Microsoft Office 365 or from Google Classroom. This is a big push because many faculty members at CMS have a negative view of technology before, and now they see how it can be a useful tool. The change from Microsoft Office 365 to Google Classroom was exceptionally difficult. Not only are the platforms very, very different, but they have their own tips and tools to make them most effective to use in the classroom. Microsoft is, while more common for word processing and presentations, is more difficult to use as a cloud computing tool, such as using Microsoft OneNote or the online class notebooks. Google Classroom, on the other hand, and the Google Apps for Education are much more user-friendly. By showing that these user-friendly apps are available under Google, I was able to win over many of the faculty and allow them to see how easy it was to get on board with cloud computing. That would be the biggest result, is the faculty familiarity with technology in their classroom. Seeing how cloud computing and the new devices that we were able to purchase can help support their students, their content, and their teaching styles was one of the biggest positives that came out. I would like to be able to set up more model classrooms as exemplars for these teachers to show off what they've learned and to learn from their peers. Not only is cloud computing under Microsoft Office 365 or Google Classroom useful for creation, collaborating, and engaging students in the classroom, but it's becoming more and more familiar with the current trends in educational technology today. I feel that my capstone was successful in that it gave teachers ways to use the available technology at Columbia Middle School and the cloud computing suites under Microsoft Office 365 and Google Classrooms as method to use all the tools available to teach their content. Not only did it allow them to teach, but it allowed them to offer increased feedback to students on their work. This is done in a collaborative online setting, either in Microsoft Office or in Google Classroom. Also, in Google Classroom specifically, not as easily in Microsoft, teachers are able to implement quick and easy assessments, either formative or summative, and then able to disseminate those assessments and use that data in order to drive future instruction. That's one of the main positives that came from the change to Google Classroom, is that the assessment is embedded into Google Classroom using Google Forms, and that data is available almost instantly. So without the transition from Microsoft Office 365 to Google Classroom, we would not have gained that valuable feature.
To improve the capstone in the future, I'd like to have Google Classroom as the primary focus of our cloud computing suite. I would like more teachers to use it and expect their students to use Google Classroom on a daily basis. I'd also like to make parents aware of how Google Classroom can support their students' learning both in and out of school. I'd like to offer more individualized and small group instruction for teachers and give them time to do observations on their peers and offer feedback in real-life discussions. I believe that these things would help improve the way that Google Classroom and the school's devices are used to increase student engagement and student learning in all content areas and grade levels. As previously mentioned, the future of technology at CMS under the Capstone project will not see a one-to-one implementation. Rather, it will see 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 devices per students in a group. We will continue to implement Google Classroom in all classes. However, the faculty must receive more training on how to use school and student devices to meet student needs based on technology standards. We must also address faculty training needs for technology integration planning from ITEC, the low-T framework, and technology engagement indicators. Will be to use GAFE and cloud computing to meet technology standards based on the low-T framework seen here. This presentation is copyright 2017 by Daniel S. Davis. I would like to extend my sincerest thanks to my wife, Ashley, and Mrs. White and Mr. Kennedy at Freedom Park School for believing that I could make a difference. I'd also like to thank my professors throughout the program, especially Dr. Vanderbilt and Mrs. Shields. Thanks to Columbia Middle School, its teachers, students, and administration. Special thanks to Mr. Putnam, Dr. Dunham, and Mrs. Reed for providing support and guidance through the project. Thank you also to the classroom teachers who volunteered their time and energy, Mrs. Shields, Mrs. Forehand, Mr. Ferguson, Mr. McGill, Mrs. Seymour, and Mrs. Furby. Again, thanks to my wife and family for your support. Thank you.